Deep inside an ancient ruin, a team of explorers is lying in the puddle of their own blood. The only survivor is Juheon, or Sung Jinwoo from Walmart, a talented swordsman who has not yet given up against the insanely powerful enemy that killed his entire team. He holds his sword in his trembling hands as a giant snake monster raises its head to attack him, so runs to the side as the snake monster lunges towards him, and then jumps high up to land a powerful blow on it. However, the snake monster is smart as well, and it was anticipating the attack. It blocks Juheon's attack with its incredibly tough nails and pushes him back. Juheon runs towards the wall to lure the monster towards him and then lunges at it with his full strength. The monster opens its jaws wide to swallow him whole, but at the last moment, it notices a blue aura coating Juheon's sword. The monster immediately knows that the attack is going to be dangerous, so it smacks Juheon away with its tail. He coughs a ton of blood and then hits the wall, but wakes up just before the monster attacks him again. He escapes to the side and finds that the monster's head is stuck in the wall, and this is his golden chance to finish it off. He jumps up and unleashes his full power through his sword to stab the snake's head. However, his sword can't handle the power flowing through it and cracks in half, leaving the blade stuck inside the snake's head. Juheon is flung away by the explosion, and he can't regain his balance in the time the snake takes to free itself and bite his leg. Juheon screams in pain and stabs the snake's eye repeatedly with his broken sword, but that is not enough to make it stop. The snake keeps chomping on his leg like he's a chew toy and then slams him on the ground. The snake keeps on tearing Juheon's legs as he screams in pain, thinking that he doesn't want to die like this. He curses a guy named Taejun for doing this to him and remembers how he was deployed to this mission with promise of a handsome reward. But all he got in the end was brutal death. He still crawls towards his sword as soon as he gets free from the snake's jaw, but then realizes that no matter what he does, he cannot change the outcome of this fight. He starts laughing and tells the snake to end it quickly, and it pounces on him immediately. However, the snake's attack never reaches him, and instead, he hears a voice complaining that he is too loud. As Juheon opens his eyes, he sees that time around him has frozen, and then he hears the voice again. He thinks that it is a talking relic and yells that he has seen plenty of them in the past. He tells the relic that it doesn't matter which god it belongs to, and asks it to get rid of the snake and let him go from this place. The voice laughs at him and asks if he thinks he can get out of this place even if the snake is defeated. That is when Juheon looks at his legs, or whatever little is left of them. The voice says that he will die of blood loss even if he manages to crawl out of this place, which is a shame because he was a talented person, just born in a wrong era. Juheon yells that he didn't want to live like this either, but he had no control over how his life went. He curses the guy named Taejun once again and swears that he will kill him no matter what it takes. The voice likes Juheon's passion even when he is 12 minutes away from dying, and it starts descending from the ceiling. Juheon sees a four-eyed crow flying down from the blazing golden light, who decides to give him a chance. The crow tells him to go and claim the throne of the true king if he can, and then shoots a burst of energy at him. Juheon feels unimaginable pain as his lost legs grow back in an instant, and when he opens his eyes, he is so rattled that he doesn't realize that he has his legs and he is out of the dungeon. He wonders what was the deal with the crow that told him to claim the true king's throne, and feels like it must be a high-class relic. Suddenly, he realizes that he has got his legs back and he is alive and completely healthy. He looks around to see a bunch of pissed policemen staring at him while a woman complains that he hit her son for no reason. Juheon wonders what is going on and why is he here, while the officer in front of him tries to interrogate him. He can't focus on his questions and wonders if the crow is making him see a dream that feels very real. The officer gets irritated when Juheon doesn't even say his name, and says that this is a terrible way to start the year 2025. That is what snaps Juheon out of his thoughts, and he checks the calendar to see that the date is 1st of January 2025. However, that shouldn't be possible because 2025 was 15 years ago. Juheon realizes that the crow sent him to the past to give him another chance, and he starts smiling because now he can redo his life. Suddenly, he notices the Karen next to him, yelling at him for hitting her son. And after focusing a little, Juheon can remember her and her ugly son. The boy came to pick a fight with him in high school, and when he pushed him, he flopped on the ground like a soccer player and brought him to the police station. He remembers that the last time, the woman asked for a ridiculous amount of compensation, and since he was broke, he had to get down on his knees and beg to reduce the amount. As he is lost in thoughts, the nasty old lady tells him to pay attention when seniors are talking. She tries to slap him, but Juheon's body moves on its own and stops her hand, shocking everyone. However, he is surprised the most on seeing that his body still remembers how to fight. He decides to do things differently this time and tells the Karen to shut up because her son started the fight. He tells her that she is asking for too much compensation for slapping her idiot son. And that just proves that rich people are the most greedy people on the planet. This irritates the woman's son, and he charges towards Juheon, who simply grabs his fist and slams him on the ground. While the woman tells the police officers to arrest him immediately, Juheon starts assessing his situation. His body is moving really well, which makes him realize that the relic-induced sickness from his past life hasn't hit him yet. On top of that, he feels like all the combat skills that he developed in the past 15 years are still with him. He is super excited about this, but then he realizes that he messed up by attacking the boy in front of cops. Even though everyone saw that he was just defending himself, the cops can't argue with the Karen because she has money, and they lock Juheon up. The woman keeps cursing him and tells him that she will bankrupt his entire family for hurting her son. But Juheon doesn't even care because the world is going to change very soon. In the year 2025, massive earthquakes rattled the planet and then tombs appeared everywhere. Inside the tombs were relics from mythology and fiction that had gained form after being remembered as stories by people for ages. Those who obtained the relics gained incredible abilities, so people left in search of relics for themselves. Juheon was one such explorer, and he hit the jackpot when he found the archaeologist's relic that gave him knowledge about tombs and treasures. He thought he was going to make it big with his new abilities. But then things began to change. A big corporation called the TKBM company led by Taejun Kwon took control of the tombs, and they started using trained soldiers to stop people from exploring the tombs. Other big companies also monopolized the tombs, and normal people couldn't do anything against the power of capitalism. Luckily, Juheon's abilities were recognized, and he was scouted by TKBM. For years, he handled the dirty work of the company, including theft, smuggling, spying, and illegally raiding tombs that were under government control. Because of him, Taejun made a lot of money, but he didn't get enough returns. What he got was hatred and scorn from other people who called him Taejun's lapdog. But Juheon didn't mind it because he chose to become Taejun's dog. However, in the end, Taejun discarded him by sending him into a trap that almost killed him. After he finishes thinking about how things happened last time, Juheon decides that he needs to get ready for excavating tombs as quickly as possible. Just as he thinks this, a message appears in front of him calling him a tomb raider and a lousy thief who can't even use a shovel properly. Juheon realizes that this is the work of the four-eyed crow and yells at it to get out. Instead of the crow, another window pops out in front of him, showing him his skills. He is an F-rank spy who can detect anything in 1 meter radius. Juheon is not playing this game because he already feels like a cheap copy of Sung Jinwoo, and he doesn't want his story to become the next solo leveling. He punches the window and it disappears before another screen appears in front of him, giving him a mission to unlock all 4 skills of a tomb raider. Juheon is not really pleased about that, and then the police officer tells him to shut up and take his schizophrenia meds because he is talking to air. Juheon realizes that no one can see his system window, and then he notices a cockroach near him. His skill allows him to see all its details clearly, and he realizes that this is the same skill that the archaeologist's relic gave him, and now he can access it through his system window. He thinks that he is off to a great start, when suddenly, his friend, Detective Jinwoo, comes there to bail him out. He tells Juheon that the boy from earlier should be behind bars instead of him and says that he will take care of everything. Juheon thanks him, and Jinwoo is shocked to hear that because he is not this polite normally. He starts laughing about it, and Juheon feels glad to see an old friend alive and young again. As they walk home, Juheon asks Jinwoo if there have been any strange incidents lately that feel supernatural. Jinwoo tells him to see a therapist because his mental health seems to be pitiful. Juheon is now sure that there are no relic users in the world yet, but he feels that tombs have already appeared. He thinks that it is the perfect time to make a move, but the problem is that most of the early relics were in Europe and America, and he needs money to go there. Suddenly, he bumps into a bunch of thugs who ask him where he is going, and Juheon starts grinning because he has found his cash cow. The leader of the thugs is Kyon, a low-level thug and art broker, and Juheon used to work for him in the past when he desperately needed money. The wage was low, and he was treated like a dog, but he still kept working. But this time, he decides to do things differently. One of the thugs approaches him and tells him to get back to his senses, but the moment he tries to hit him, Juheon slaps the crap out of him and punches him to the ground. He says that he is handing over his resignation and tells Kyon to give him his back pay and severance. Kyon laughs on hearing this and attacks him. but Juheon dog walks him and scares the rest of the thugs. They decide to jump him, but Juheon defeats them easily as well. He realizes that he still has all his skills, but he is lacking strength, so he needs to finish things quickly. Suddenly, Juheon gets back up and pulls out a golden knife from his pocket to teach him a lesson. His lackey tells him to be careful because the knife is dangerous, and Juheon recognizes it as a relic. He wonders how did a nobody like Juheon got a relic, but then he thinks that it must be one of those relics that slip out of tombs and mix in human society. However, he doesn't care about that because he is going to take the relic away from the thug soon. Juheon charges at Juheon with the relic, but he dodges all his attacks, grabs his arm, and then throws him off balance before pointing the knife at his throat. That makes the knife refuse Juheon as its owner, and it immediately falls into Juheon's hands, who decides to show the losers how they use a relic. He activates the power of the knife that gives him X-ray vision, letting him see the detailed anatomy of his opponents. He first kicks Juheon against the wall when he wasn't even trying to fight back, and then the lackeys charge at him. Juheon uses the second ability of the relic, which turns him partially invisible and super fast, letting him deal serious slashes to the two lackeys before they even realize they have been attacked. That freaks the crap out of everyone, and they immediately give up. Later, Juheon tells his boss that he and his entire gang got their ass whooped, and she doesn't believe him at all. She is furious and asks how could he let that happen, and Juheon says that Juheon was moving really fast and his eyes were glowing so they couldn't do anything. However, the worst part is that he took all the money in Juheon's bank account and a Buddha statue, and that drives his boss absolutely crazy, and she tells the loser to get it back at all costs. Suddenly, his spying skill activates, and he learns that something suspicious is hidden in the statue. He wipes away the screen in front of him, and then shakes the statue to confirm that it actually is hiding something. He cuts off the base of the statue with the knife, and a small vial with a blue liquid falls on the ground. Juheon immediately tosses the statue away because he recognizes the liquid is an illegal drug. There is just one more thing left to take care of now, and Juheon calls his detective friend Jinwoo about it. At the same time, Juheon's boss is calling her boss to report about the missing statue. When her door is flung open, she lashes out, asking who dares disturb her when she is busy, and to her surprise, it is Jinwoo and another officer, who have brought Juheon to her office in handcuffs. Jinwoo says that they received a tip about a drug deal and caught her guy possessing a bottle of it. They are also investigating the warehouse he was working at to find more drugs. This makes the woman panic, but she tries to convince Jinwoo that she is just an art dealer and nothing more. She is confident that the police won't be able to crack the passwords protecting the warehouse rooms, but just then Jinwoo receives confirmation that they checked the art pieces in the warehouse, and they all had drugs in them. The woman feels the world spinning on hearing that all the passwords were cracked, and Jinwoo puts her in handcuffs before letting her talk to Juheon, who tells her that she needs to change her password from 12345. The woman curses him as the cops take her away, and soon after that, Jinwoo texts Juheon that he will receive his 10 million yen reward for revealing the drug trafficking circle soon. Juheon is happy to hear that now he has enough funds to start looking for relics. He decides to go home early and get some rest before starting his journey the next day when he suddenly hears a loud thud. He rushes to see what is happening and finds a tomb in the place where his flat used to be, and he doesn't know if that is a good thing or a bad one. Anyway, he goes to check things out and finds the locals distressed while military men are defending the tomb. He sees a woman talking on the phone about how the government of this country doesn't know about tombs yet, so they are going to detonate this one before the country learns about its true value. However, she is shocked to find a fellow excavator there and asks what the Republic of Bent is doing by sending its excavation team here. The guy named Kenshi asks the woman Linda what she is doing here because the United States should not be here either. While the two of them argue about who is going to get the loot from the tomb, Juheon panics because he was not ready for the CIA and the Republic of Bent to be here. However, seeing how they plan to blow up the tomb, he realizes that they are no experts, which makes his work easier. Suddenly, he sees glowing red letters on the road, starting near him and leading towards the tomb. He recognizes them as tomb glyphs, which are like Insta bios of tombs, and if a person can understand them, they can know about the entrance of the tomb and the traps inside it. He follows the glyphs and finds their center, and just as he is about to start reading, the system window pops up in front of him and gives him the title of Expert Cryptographer. It also unlocks his F-rank skill linguistics that improves his understanding of all languages. That is also one of the skills he needs to unlock to complete his first quest, but Juheon is not worried about it. He quickly finds the entrance of the tomb and slashes it with his knife, releasing a bright pillar of energy into the sky as the entrance opens up. Both Linda and Kenshi are shocked to see it because they have never seen a tomb open up properly. One of Linda's men tells her that the tomb entrance is opening and Kenshi rushes towards the pillar of light before her. Linda follows him, and they both jump inside a hole in the ground that is releasing massive amounts of energy without thinking twice. Meanwhile, Juheon uses a lighter to read the glyphs on the wall and follows them because he believes that this is the right direction. He soon comes to an open area with a clear lake in the middle, and that is exactly where he wants to be. He looks at the lake and then tosses his knife into it, pretty confident that it is going to work out. Just as he does that, a gigantic talking snake emerges from the lake, asking which poor fool has dropped his treasure in the lake this time. Juheon waves at the snake to get its attention, who is not really pleased by his lax attitude. However, he doesn't plan to eat him and gently reaches up to him and opens his mouth, asking which knife is his, the golden one or the silver one. Juheon knows that the relic of this tomb is gold and silver axe, that is derived from the story of the woodcutter who lost his axe and then got 2 more because of his honesty. Juheon knows what he needs to do to clear the trial, and he tells the snake that neither of those knives belong to him. The snake then pulls out his knife and asks if this is the one he wants, and Juheon knows that if he says yes, he will get back his knife and the relic of this tomb. But he doesn't plan to do it the easy way. He asks the snake if he can check the knife up close to confirm, and the snake has no problem with it. Juheon walks up to it, and as soon as he gets his knife, he slashes the snake, giving it both physical and emotional damage. It asks him why he attacked when it was just trying to do its job, and Juheon replies that he doesn't trust things like it. The snake surrounds him from all sides as Juheon says that there is no guarantee that he will be rewarded for clearing this trial, and even if he gets the relic, he might turn into a mindless murderer. The snake is taken aback on hearing this and asks Juheon how he knows about this secret. Juheon recalls reading this in the news in his previous life. That time, the gold and silver axe was found in America, and its user turned into a serial killer. The snake suddenly attacks him, but Juheon dodges that and jumps on top of it, stabbing its head with his knife. The snake tells him that it is not enough to subdue him, so Juheon increases the power and thrusts the knife deeper, causing the snake to writhe in pain as it moves around, giving Juheon the roller coaster ride of his life. Juheon explains the different ways a person can master a relic. The first way is affinity, which is the ability to control relics through trust. The second is dominance, which means controlling a relic through force. And the third is compatibility, where the user and the relic are made for each other. Currently, he is trying to use dominance on the snake, who refuses to give up and plunges into the lake to shake Juheon off. He keeps holding on to the snake no matter how fast or erratically it moves, and tells it to obey him or he will destroy it completely. The snake tells him to stop as it struggles frantically, and its scales turn golden and fall from its body one by one. Its entire body turns into water with that, and the water transforms into the gold and silver axes. And Juheon is glad that he got the relics without the side effect. His system window tells him that he has obtained the title Tomb Survivor and a new skill, Tomb Excavation, which increases the understanding of tombs. Juheon is happy because now there's only one skill he needs to unlock for the quest. As he fiddles around the screens to learn more about his stats, another screen pops up in front of him, saying that he has obtained a new title, Abuser of Relics, which increases his dominance power but decreases his affinity. Juheon doesn't care about it because he wants to dominate all relics in this life anyway. Just then, he hears the other 2 explorers coming towards him, so he hides and watches Kenshi throw a relic into the lake. Juheon pities him because he doesn't know that the tomb has already been cleared, but he doesn't stay around to watch him suffer. Meanwhile, Kenshi starts growing impatient because a prophet told him that he just needed to throw a relic into the lake to activate the trial. Linda asks him if the rumors about the Republic of Bent having a prophecy relic are true, and he refuses even though the cat is out of the bag. Suddenly, the tomb starts shaking and the roof starts crumbling, forcing both of them to run out before they get trapped in the rubble. Meanwhile, some of Ryeon's lackeys are searching through their boss's office to see if anything valuable is left there, but it is completely empty. The blonde guy Woo curses Juheon for ruining their life and tells the other 2 guys that he will surely beat him up as their new boss. However, the moment he gets a call from Juheon, he freaks out and falls on the floor. He still picks up the phone and Juheon asks him if he has a death wish because he took too long to pick up the phone. Woo tells him to respect him because he is a senior, but Juheon tells him to shut up and do an errand for him. Meanwhile, Kenshi calls his headquarters to tell them that he failed the mission, but then he learns that there was another prophecy after he left about a local guy finding the relic before him. Kenshi is enraged because he wouldn't have to drag himself through mud if he knew this already. The guy on the other end tells him that their prophet can't read the letters properly all the time because they are in Japanese, but he asks Kenshi to be careful around the guy who conquered this dungeon because the prophecy called him the guy who will devour the world. At the same time, Juheon tells Woo that his mission is to enter the world's biggest secret auction house called Midas and find a guy named Jack Kamen there. Woo asks him how the hell are nobodies like them supposed to enter the auction house, but Juheon tells them that it sounds like their problem. He tells them that he will pay all the expenses needed to get them into the auction hall along with their fee, so they don't need to worry about money. However, if they don't work for him, he will pummel them to death. And that threat is enough to force the thugs to work for him. After that, Juheon gets ready to go for relic hunting when he hears the news that another guy has committed seppuku, which makes it 4 people in the past month. That is not a surprise for Juheon because the same thing happened the last time before tombs started appearing. He starts walking ahead and accidentally bumps into Kenshi, who starts lecturing him about manners. Juheon remembers his face from the previous tomb raid, and he decides to stick around because he knows that the Republic of Bent has a prophecy relic. That means if Kenshi is here, a tomb will appear here soon. He can also see that Kenshi has a relic because he is not even trying to hide his aura. Juheon ignores him on purpose to irritate him, and as Kenshi tries to stop him, he sprays his beer on his face and clothes, making him mad. Kenshi tells him to pray for dry cleaning, but Juheon replies that he is just a broke college student. He pats his shoulder and asks him to calm down as he steals his relic, and drops his ID on the ground to make him back away. Just then, the ground starts shaking and the sky turns dark, and Juheon realizes that another tomb has manifested nearby. He rushes to find it while Kenshi is happy that another prophecy came true. But just then he gets a call from his office, telling him of a prophecy that the Japanese guy who found the gold and silver axe is nearby. Kenshi is shocked to hear it, but as he hears the second prophecy that tells him to be cautious around alcohol, he realizes that Juheon was the guy he is looking for. Soon, the earthquake becomes more than a natural disaster as swords begin popping out of the ground like weeds, followed by pillars of light erupting all over the city. This was not what Juheon was expecting, but as he inspects the terror all around and the panic in the minds of the people, he realizes that the relic here is particularly nasty. He takes a moment to figure it out, but realizes that the relic surrounded by broken swords is the Muramasa sword. Muramasa was a famous swordsmith of ancient Japan who created really sharp swords. His greatest work was used by a samurai to kill an entire family, which led to the sword becoming cursed. Juheon remembers from his past life that Muramasa sword tomb was especially hostile to humans, and that holds true even now. The system gives him a warning that the bloodthirsty aura of the tomb is piercing his skin right now, and Juheon finds that to be true as he looks at his arm that is starting to burn. He realizes he has no time to waste and starts looking for the entrance, but to his horror, the tomb is much larger than he expected, and he is exhausted even before finding the entrance. He wishes that he stayed around Kenshi a bit longer because he would have known the direction to the entrance and made his work easier. Just then, Juheon hears a woman scream, and he follows it to find a bunch of people in a hole with one girl going crazy. Everyone asks her to calm down, but the girl is so thirsty for blood that she has unlocked the Byakugan. Juheon realizes that the relic has already possessed her, and if she cuts anyone, they will get possessed too. Suddenly, he notices a bridge leading down to the hole and realizes that it can only open when a sacrifice is offered. Juheon asks the people in the pit if a Japanese guy caused all this and then ran away. One guy confirms his doubts and says that there was a shady-looking guy who started singing a weird song in Japanese, and that is what opened up the pit. The guy then pushed them all in and ran away. Juheon knew that this would happen, but luckily, he has a new relic that he thinks can help him in this situation. He takes out the relic he stole from Kenshi earlier. It turns out to be a rope bracelet and a mochi dessert inside a glass case. Juheon recognizes it as the relic from the story of the siblings who became the sun and the moon. A tiger chased their mother, who offered him the mochi cake to spare her life. The tiger then attacked her children, but a rope descended from the sky to save them. Suddenly, the system tells him that he has unlocked the 4th skill to pass his quest. The skill is Nimble Fingers that allows Juheon to know how to use an item just by touching it. With that, he has completed his mission and become a full-fledged tomb raider from a rookie, and the system tells him that he can collect his reward once he escapes this tomb. Juheon couldn't be happier about the timing, and he decides to celebrate by jumping into the pit and facing the berserk girl. She charges at him in mad fury, but Juheon easily parries all her attacks and pushes her back. He then uses the rope bracelet and yeets it at the girl, tying her up and breaking her out of the relic's possession. He then asks the people where the Japanese guy who started all this went, and they tell him that he climbed the bridge and went towards the buildings. Juheon realizes that he knew everything about the tomb thanks to the prophetic relic, and he must be heading towards the entrance. Just then, the girl asks him if he can do something about the perverted rope that is tightening up in all the wrong places. Juheon calls the rope back to his hand and then turns to the people in the pit, saying that after they get out, they should help him catch the Japanese guy who set them all up. Meanwhile, Kenshi is walking over the bridge and trying to find the hole in which the relic is supposed to be. He soon finds what he was looking for and slides inside, thinking that everything is going perfectly. He has found the location of the relic, dealt with all the witnesses who would get in the way, and now all that is left is to get his hands on the Muramasa blade. Once he gets that, he plans to go straight to Juheon and teach him a lesson because he is confident that once he has the Muramasa blade, he will be invincible. However, he soon loses his confidence and patience when he fails to find the Muramasa blade among the broken ones. Just then, the people he trapped earlier arrive there and start lynching him. Kenshi can't even process how they are here while he tries to stop them from kicking him. Suddenly, he sees Juheon standing beyond the crowd, holding the golden axe in his hand, and Kenshi realizes who exactly set him up. Juheon mocks him, saying that he can't do a single thing right even though he has an entire army backing him up. He then uses the golden axe as a radar to find the Muramasa blade, and after scanning the huge pit, he finally locates it. He summons the sword to himself like it is Thor's hammer, and the Muramasa blade is happy to be found too. It tells Juheon to let it drink the blood of 10 humans because that will make it regain its true form and power. But if he fails to do it, he is going to be locked in this tomb forever. Kenshi doesn't even understand why the sword can talk, but Juheon asks if this is the trial of this tomb. The sword laughs, saying that this is indeed the trial, and asks Juheon to start killing. However, that is not how Juheon plans to do things. Instead of accepting the trial, he uses the dominance technique on Muramasa, telling it to absorb all its clones. The broken sword tells him to stop the stupidity because despite talking tough and acting like a villain, it can't fight back against Juheon's dominance. It starts absorbing its clones, and the ground trembles as the sword gains more power. The people panic, but soon, things return to normal as Juheon holds the repaired Muramasa blade in his hand, emanating a blue flame. Kenshi is dumbfounded on seeing someone control a relic like this, and when people start climbing out of the pit using the rope, he sneaks in too. Juheon spots him and calls him out, saying that he doesn't get to join others. Kenshi immediately surrenders and asks Juheon to forgive him. He even asks him to join them because tomb raiders get paid very well, and they also have the prophetic relic, Future Guide, with them. Juheon says that he heard only one person can use the Future Guide relic, and Kenshi tells him that there is a company that can solve that problem. Juheon is low-key impressed by how organized they are about it, but when Kenshi tells him that the company is TKBM, his mood immediately changes. Just then, all the civilians get out and tell Juheon that he is up next. He immediately kicks Kenshi in the guts and leaves him stranded in the pit as he climbs up. Kenshi begs him to take him along, but Juheon mocks him, telling him to ask TKBM to rescue him. With that, he commands the tomb to close, and Kenshi keeps begging him for mercy as he gets buried under the rocks. Later that night, the news talks about how an earthquake in the middle of the city turned into something disastrous as blades started protruding from the floor and the walls. The rescue operation is still ongoing, and the survivors tell the media that there was a Japanese guy responsible for everything. The news reaches Japan too, and the Prime Minister lashes out on Mori, the head of the excavation army. Mori says that it is all the fault of the Korean guy that their prophetic relic told them, but the Prime Minister doesn't want to hear anything about that because the excavation army was supposed to get rid of him. Mori takes the lashing without complaint and then tells the Prime Minister that they don't need to worry about it because they can find Juheon thanks to the Future Guide relic. The Prime Minister only gets more angry on hearing this because he knows that the relic can only track someone that has been marked by it. Mori tells him that he is right, but since Kenshi was marked by the relic and he met Juheon, they should be able to find him too. The Prime Minister tells him to do what is necessary, even though he is still pissed that the actions of Juheon tarnished the reputation of his country. At the same time, Juheon is in a hotel's bathroom, checking out his injuries from the tomb raiding earlier. He sees the burn marks on his forearm and realizes that it is the knockback from trying to dominate Muramasa blade because the stronger a relic is, the more damage it does to someone trying to forcibly dominate it. Juheon thinks that he can't keep doing this or he will be in a hospital very soon when suddenly, the system window pops up to tell him about his reward for completing the quest now that he is out of the tomb. The window asks him his approach towards the future, and he has two choices. He can either choose the path of affinity or the path of dominance, and despite his worries about dominance affecting his health, Juheon has no doubt that it is what he wants to do. As soon as he makes his decision, the system says he can get his reward now. Juheon is eager to see what he is getting, but when nothing happens, he starts getting impatient. He begins looking for the reward everywhere in the bathroom, but then he finds something in his pocket. He takes out a small shiny tablet and finds that it is a food-type consumable relic. Juheon wonders if he is supposed to eat it, and whether he can trust it at all. However, he says that if he dies, and swallows the pill. It turns out to be really bitter, but the second he swallows it, Juheon's wounds are completely healed. The system congratulates him on getting his reward. Not only has he recovered from the damage during the dominance battle, he has gotten a new skill called tolerance that will make him resistant to relic poisoning. Juheon realizes that it is a super effective skill because now he doesn't need to worry about taking too much damage from dominance battles. He wonders if the crow is behind that, but as always, he gets no answer. He tries to figure out why the crow relic helped him so much when the system window pops up in his face again, telling him that he has been marked by an S-rank relic and his future is being read. Juheon realizes that the S-rank relic is Future Guide and the Japanese government is already on his case. He knows about the Future Guide, which is based on a myth about a book of prophecies from ancient Japan. Instead of creating tombs, the relic finds its owners on its own, like it did with Sasaki in Juheon's previous life. He is pretty sure that the same schoolgirl has the Future Guide this time too. In the previous life, the Japanese government approached Sasaki the moment she found the relic and spared no expense to win her over. However, Sasaki wasn't good at studies and she couldn't decipher the prophecies in ancient Japanese properly. In the end, she was killed by a powerful man who took over the Future Guide. Juheon decides to do things differently this time, and he immediately gets on a plane to Japan. Meanwhile, Sasaki is enjoying her life peacefully when her manager tells her it is time to read the Future Guide. She is not really pleased about it, but gets to work nevertheless, and her manager tells her to copy whatever she reads even if she can't understand it. Suddenly, Sasaki starts screaming because the book says that she is going to die. At the same time, Juheon is in Japan, enjoying authentic sushi and waiting for the Japanese government to attack him. Outside his door, the soldiers of the excavation army are ready to attack, but before that, they want to send Sasaki in with more sushi. She nervously asks why should she go to serve the man who is here to kill her, but they tell her that she just needs to get him fully marked by her relic. They assure her that the man doesn't know who she is, so he won't do anything to her, and she nervously goes inside. However, the moment she looks at Juheon, she falls in love because her type is anything that looks like a K-pop idol. Juheon sees her aura and gets ready to deal with her using his sword, and the excavation army tells the ground troops to rush in and save Sasaki. To their shock, Sasaki shuts the door on their face because she wants to be alone with her crush, and she shows him a text message to secretly tell him that she has fallen for him at first sight. Juheon is flabbergasted by what is going on, but this beats his previous plan, and he agrees to go on a date with Sasaki to steal her Future Guide. Meanwhile, the soldiers decide to break in and rescue their girl, but just then, the door blows up in their face, and the next thing they know is they are tied up and hanging by the roof. Juheon comes out of the room with his hand on Sasaki's shoulder and tells her they should go to a nice date spot now that no one is going to disturb them. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.